The Serpent and the Rainbow is a 1988 horror fantasy film directed by Wes Craven. It stars Bill Pullman and Kathy Tyson. Now, due to some civil disputes in other countries, this was probably one of Craven's more risky films. Anyway, let's start the review. The plot of this movie revolves around a doctor named Dennis Allen, played by Bill Pullman, who travels to Haiti to investigate the mysterious case of a man who was seen alive despite being pronounced dead days prior. After some help from some research partners, he solves the mystery, but the man behind it all is using said power to turn people into zombified slaves. And worse, the Haitian authorities are working with him, so now Alan must avoid them at all costs if he wants to avoid a fate worse than death. Now, this is a pretty creepy premise, especially due to the fact that supposedly there actually is a drug that you can use to control someone while they are completely unaware of it. It's extremely hard to get a hold of, and hopefully it stays that way. Even though there are some fantasy elements to the film, it still manages to be a very convincing tale due to the fact that Craven uses voodoo culture to help tell the story and portrays it in a very realistic way. The film will keep you hooked until the very end. I give plot an A. Next is acting. This is a pretty early film with Bill Pullman, and I have to say, it wasn't too bad. In fact, it was actually kind of convincing. To give you an idea, he starts out in Haiti relatively bright and confident that, thinking that it'll go smooth, he'll just grab the drug and he'll leave. But days later, he is running tired, and scared for his life. This sudden transition may sound annoying on paper, but it's done in a surprisingly scary way due to the fact that you begin to feel Dennis's fear after he starts to realize the danger he is in. I give acting an A-. Finally, directing. Craven knew just how eerie this film was going to be. So everything from the music, atmosphere, even some of the performances, really helped to convey this lingering sense of doom. And to make matters worse, he takes moments that are already pretty freaky and makes them 10 times scarier. One scene in particular involves the character getting buried alive with an extremely deadly spider. For some reason, I'm more afraid of stinging insects than I am of spiders. In fact, I think spiders are actually kind of cool. But that scene made me feel very claustrophobic and uncomfortable. And the fact that the villain is going to turn him into an obedient slave doesn't help either. Which is kind of ironic, since he's doing it to make sure Haiti doesn't revert back to slavery. Also, speaking of which, the way the antagonist is portrayed really paints him in an extremely corrupt and sadistic light. I also like how they didn't portray all practitioners of voodoo to be evil. It's actually a very sacred act from what I've heard, and those who truly practice it look down on those who use it for their own selfish gain. I give directing an A+. Overall, The Serpent and the Rainbow is a really freaky movie involving the dark arts of voodoo. It has an intense feel throughout and will have you in constant suspense and fear. This is a very underrated Craven tale and I give it an A+. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like and sub for more content.